George loved peanut butter, not just any peanut butter, Maple Crunch peanut butter, Peanut Perfection brand to be exact. It was a love affair that began in his youth. He loved the creamy texture, the sweet maple swirls. Each bite was a tiny explosion of joy. He ate it on toast, on crackers, even straight from the jar. His friends teased him, his family rolled their eyes. But George didn't care. Maple Crunch was his one true love. Until one day it was gone. George stood in the peanut butter aisle. He stared at the empty shelf, no Maple Crunch. Panic welled up inside him. He checked another grocery store, and another, and another. The result was the same. Despair settled over him like a shroud. Discontinued, a weary store clerk informed him. Something about low sales and maple syrup shortages. George was heartbroken. He had to find more Maple Crunch. His taste buds depended on it. George embarked on a mission. He scoured every grocery store within a 100-mile radius. He charmed cashiers, befriended stock boys, even resorted to mild bribery. His efforts paid off. He amassed a modest stockpile, enough to last a few months maybe. But George needed a long-term solution. His quest was far from over. He needed a bigger boat, or in this case, a bigger car. His little hatchback wouldn't do for his next adventure. George bought a used minivan. For road trips, he told his skeptical neighbor. He packed it with snacks, maps, and an extra-large cooler for his precious cargo. He drove across state lines following rumors of Maple Crunch sightings. He braved desert heat and mountain snow. He endured countless gas station sandwiches. He found a jar here, a case there. His stockpile grew. He was like a peanut butter pirate, hoarding his treasure. But his greatest challenge awaited him across the border. Canada, land of maple syrup, surely held the key to George's peanut butter dreams. He envisioned vast warehouses overflowing with Maple Crunch. He encountered language barriers, cultural misunderstandings, and a surprising lack of Maple Crunch. Apparently, Canadians preferred their maple syrup on pancakes, not in their peanut butter. He did, however, find a charming bakery that sold maple-glazed croissants. He ate one every morning for a week. His quest was becoming more about the journey than the destination. George returned home, exhausted but triumphant. His minivan groaned under the weight of hundreds of jars of Maple Crunch. He had enough to last a lifetime. He cracked open a jar, dipped in a spoon, and took a bite. And then, it hit him. The sweetness was overpowering, the texture too thick. Had it always been this way? He tried another jar. Same reaction. His beloved Maple Crunch no longer held the same appeal. George was bewildered. He had sacrificed so much for this peanut butter. Now, it just sat there, a sticky monument to his obsession. An idea struck him. He loaded his minivan once more, this time with boxes instead of coolers. He drove to the local food bank and made a generous donation. The volunteers were thrilled. "Peanut butter is like gold to us," one said. George felt a warmth spread through him, a feeling even Maple Crunch couldn't provide. George's story spread. He became a local legend, the peanut butter pilgrim. People stopped him on the street, not to mock, but to share their own tales of unusual passions. He even inspired others to embrace their own quests, whether for a discontinued brand of soda or a rare vintage comic book. He learned that the joy wasn't in the possession, but in the pursuit. And as for Maple Crunch, he still had a jar or two tucked away, a reminder of his epic adventure. George realized that life, like peanut butter, is best enjoyed in moderation. And sometimes the things we think we want the most turn out to be less important than the experiences we have along the way. His journey had taught him about perseverance, about letting go, and about the sweet satisfaction of helping others. It was a sticky situation to be sure, but it had a surprisingly happy ending.